right, this weekend we are going to do kind of a year-end update for 2025, and so we're going to talk a little bit about numbers. So for you numbers folks, you'll kind of get all excited about numbers. Then we're going to talk even more about kind of some ministry updates, what we've seen God doing here through Central throughout this past year, and then take a glimpse kind of what we're thinking about for 2026. But before we do that, why don't we all stand up and greet each other this morning? Okay, we're going to start with some numbers. So, Myron, I'm going to hope I can keep up with your slides. I know you're out here somewhere. So let's start with our budget for this past year. Our budget last year was $2 million. Our giving to the general fund was $1.781 thousand, and then to the impact promise was $82,000. That was our giving in our budget for last year. Our expenses, though, in 2025 exceeded our giving by $156,000. Now, here's the thing. I want to share this with you. You might go, well, what? Okay, you spent more than you took in. That sounds kind of scary. And it is a little bit scary. But here's the thing. We don't borrow money. We don't have a line of credit at the bank. We actually have a reserve fund that we use when we're in those times of shortfall. We finished the year with a reserve of $135,000. The elders approved taking $97,000 that was in a church planting fund and using that towards operating expenses for the first part of the year. So that's going to cover us during this first quarter. But here's the thing. I was thinking about this. I was actually talking to a few people. You guys know the story of Joseph. I mean, we're in Exodus. Surely you know the story of Joseph a little bit, right? And you remember Joseph, when he goes down to Egypt, he has this kind of encounter with a guy named Pharaoh. And you remember what was going on with him? He had this dream. And what was the dream? Do you remember? There was going to be 7 years of prosperity followed by 7 years of famine, right? You had some big old fat cows, big old fat wheat, and then you had some really skinny cows and this dried up wheat, right? And it was this illustration, and really what Joseph told Pharaoh was the Lord was preparing him. He said, during these years of plenty, you're to gather the wheat and put it into the barns. So when the years of famine came, you would have the surplus so that you could cover those years of famine. Let me tell you this. For years, this church has been blessed with years of plenty, and our storehouses were full. And that allowed us in the lean years to use some of that to cover some of that shortfall. And so we've never, like the Lord, let me just say this, the Lord has always been faithful to this church to provide. And on our part, as elders and staff and as a church, what our job then is to continue to watch expenses and make sure we keep those things down. One of those things, we have a small but mighty staff. If you're a staff member, can y'all maybe stand up? These guys do a lot. We used to be what I would call a large church staff, meaning that we had a staff member kind of to cover just about every area, and then if you needed that, you had a backup and then a backup to the backup. But we don't have those backups now. Now it's each person is covering multiple ministries. And so what that means for us as a church is actually an exciting time, because that gives you more opportunity to be involved. Right? That we don't have the luxury of staff to cover everything, and so we need you. to be a part of the ministry. We need you to step up and lead in certain areas where maybe you haven't before. And that's a season that we're in. But part of our cutting costs is keeping a smaller staff so that we can be more nimble and we can kind of respond to those things. And then also, let me just tell you, on our side, besides cutting expenses, remember, we don't make widgets here. Y'all know what a widget is? When I was in accounting, it's just a made-up word that means we don't make little trinkets, right? If we did, we could just sell more of those and we'd have more money, right? If I was a consultant, I could go out and hire my services and I can make just a little bit more money. But we depend 100% on the generosity of God's people. 100%. That means that every time we do a budget, it's a faith budget. You understand that? Every budget we make is a faith budget because we can't count on what's been given last year. We have to trust the Lord that He's going to provide this year for what He wants to get done. You know what that means? That means we all have a part to play. That means we all have skin in the game. That means this is the church that God has given to us, and so we all have to invest in this church body. And let me just say, there are a number of you guys that have been doing that faithfully over the years, and let me just say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your generosity to this church. In your serving and using your time and using your gifts, the things that, the abilities that God has given you, and your financial means. Thank you so much. And let me just challenge you, 2026, let's excel still more in serving the Lord in that way. And now that's kind of the numbers piece. That's the piece that, it's interesting. I don't know if you guys know this, but in a former life, I was an accountant. It's hard to believe, right? I was a numbers guy. I don't care too much for numbers anymore, but anyway. So let's talk about the ministry. That's my favorite part of this thing. We've got a global outreach slide, right? Let's do that. Okay. Just so you guys know, and we've talked about this throughout the year, we have 9 different countries where we have missionaries serving. And yeah, we do. You can see it up there. They've got the places listed. So it's all over the globe that we have people serving in different areas. We have, let's see, I'm going to make sure I get this right. The Toledos and the Lopezes who are in Guatemala. Martinez is in Colombia. We have the Woodards who are living in Germany and actually doing translation work for folks in Istanbul. The Colognes in West Africa. We have Set Free Alliance. And actually my niece is serving through that in India. In Nepal, we have Michelle Rickett. Japan, we have a church that we're supporting there. It's called Living Chapel. Short little break here. Tomorrow, Mike Harris and I are going to be taking a trip to visit the church there in Japan, and it's an opportunity for us to encourage them. It's a small but mighty church. They're struggling to make ends meet. You think it's hard here in America. In Japan, the spiritual soil is very hard. And so they faithfully serve all this time, and he's kind of on an island. Well, it is an island, but he's metaphorically on an island and alone. And so this gives us a chance to go and encourage him and pray for them and encourage the church that's there. But we're ministering to folks in Japan, the Dumas in the Philippines, and then the Riggenbergs in Indonesia. We have Gina Holm, who works with the Navigators here stateside, and then the Wertheims with Jews for Jesus. One other thing about that, I'm going to talk a little bit about our Easter plans this year. But one of the things, during Holy Week, we are going to have Rob Wertheim. He's going to come in and do a Seder dinner on that Wednesday. So if you're interested in that, and what that means is it's a Passover dinner. He's going to show us kind of what the Christ in the Passover. So if you come to that meal, he's going to explain what all the elements and how they point to Jesus. So super excited about that. But that'll be during Holy Week that week. Locally, we support Grace Resources, CareNet, and T Challenge. A couple of internal ministries that are outreaches. Stop. Okay, my stop folks, where are you guys? Heroes, one and all. I just have to say this. We've got a group. Who are my Saturday folks? Oh my goodness. So every other Saturday, they make sack lunches, about 200 sack lunches every other Saturday. And then they go out into the desert. They go out under the bridges, they go to the encampments, they go everywhere. And they take these sack lunches to some pretty scary places to give to folks to show the love of Jesus. And they'll ask for prayer requests. They'll share, they'll befriend these folks. They're reading, they're sharing scripture with them every other Tuesday. And so over this past year, I think it was like 4,800 sack lunches that they gave to folks who were very hungry. Yes. And then we have on Thursday night, if you didn't know, every, I can't say it enough, every Thursday night, we have anywhere from 50 to 80 guests that come on this campus, people who just need a hot meal. And before they get the meal, Alex and Pam, they do a Bible study with them. And so not only are they getting physically fed, they're getting spiritually fed. And here's these guys are crazy. You realize this past year that both Christmas Day and New Year's Day, not to mention Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is always on Thursday, but Christmas Day and New Year's Day were both on a Thursday night. And they still had all the volunteers show up. And not only did they show up, but on Christmas Day, they actually brought presents for people so that people could celebrate Christmas there. It's awesome. They've got a partnership with Tumbleweed Elementary that they've had for a number of years where they get canned goods and they get clothing for that. Super great ministry. AV School Prayer. Okay, Elisa, she brought this to our attention a few years ago. And this is really, it should be a no-brainer, but, kids in school have a hard time. They're faced with a lot of stuff. And so she kind of brought this to us for the last, 3 years? 3 years. 296 team members, 106 campuses, 9 school districts. We've got folks praying over the students, the teachers, the administration of those schools. And let me just say, if you want to be a part of that, it's an easy thing. You can contact Elisa, or you can just do this. I know every one of us in this room, when you drive to work, you drive to the grocery store, or you drive wherever you're driving, there's a school, right? And if you could just take a few moments as you're driving by to pray for the Lord's favor on that campus, for the believers that are there, and the spiritual darkness and the opportunity they have to be the light of the Lord, right? The aroma of Christ on those campuses, that would be super greatly appreciated. Care Portal is something that kind of tends to go a little bit under the radar. I know I saw Mike, I know Alan's back here, but it's a ministry where we partner with the county, with the social services. And it's a way that we get to love on our neighbors that we don't even know, right? They bring a need to us, and then if we have the ability, if it's providing beds, or if it's providing a refrigerator, or even sometimes it's gas cards or whatever, we do that to help serve our community in that way. And it's been a partnership that's been going on for nearly 5 years, right? And then during the LA fires, we got a chance to deliver $1,000 to 8 different families. So that's a really neat ministry that we have. Trend. You guys have heard us talk about Trend before. And, Trend ministry, over this past year, we do 2 main things that are part of that Trend ministry. One is a bi-weekly, is that right? Every other week on a Thursday market. Where we provide fresh produce and we provide canned goods to people living in that neighborhood. It's a free thing. They come and they pick up stuff. We partner with AVC and with the county to get the food, and then we distribute it there in the community. And so over 60 families are a part of that market every other week. 480 have received free groceries through this ministry this past year. And then the other piece of that is the tutoring service that we do. There's about 10 to 12 kids that would come after school and be a part of the tutoring. And so we had volunteers that are building into their lives, helping them with their homework, just loving on them, doing a Bible study, doing games, just investing in their lives. And so it's been a really good ministry, good partnership. We partnered with the city this past year. Going forward, we're going to change that a bit. We're still going to partner with the city on the markets that we do every other Thursday, but we're going to allow some other ministries to be involved in the tutoring piece of it and some of the other community programs that the city wants to do there. Now, let's talk discipleship. I feel like I'm going fast. Am I going fast? I'm going fast. All right. Discipleship. Okay. We have a slide. All right, let's talk about baptisms. 51. How many weeks in a year? 52. One short. But man, I think I've told you guys this. Growing up, I grew up in what's typically called the Bible Belt, right? In Texas, the buckle of the Bible Belt. And I can tell you, in all my years of growing up in church, in serving on church staffs, not only in Texas, but in the Midwest, I've never seen that many baptisms, certainly in 1 year. But I can say in my years of ministry, I haven't seen that in all my years of ministry till I got here. There's something weird that goes on out in California, right? You guys are different. But it's awesome. It is fun to see. And it's not that we're trying to twist your arm to do it. People just want to do that. They want to make known their faith in Jesus, that they're following him. And here's the thing you guys need to know. Baptism doesn't save you. Baptism is just that outward expression of what's already happened in your heart. So every time someone is getting baptized there, it's not that they're going, oh, I'm trusting Jesus and this is how it works. What they're saying is, I have trusted in Jesus. And now I want you guys to know that I'm going to follow him. And it gives us an opportunity to hold them accountable and to encourage them. And it gives them a sense of then just this step of ownership in following after Jesus. We had 199 first-time guests this past year. That's a lot. That's larger than probably most churches in the United States. That's a lot of people, new people. And some of you liked us enough that you kind of kept coming. That's good. Men's ministry. We've got 2 men's Bible studies, one on Thursday night, one on Saturday morning. And that's a great place. If you guys, if you're looking for a place to get plugged in with other men, that's a good place to go on either of those times. Thursday night, Friday or Saturday morning, they do a men's breakfast. They're trying to do 3 of those a year, along with 3 work days. You know, guys, we're kind of better at eating and doing stuff than talking all the time. And so those are ways that we kind of talk over doing stuff, right? So we had a men's breakfast in November, had a lot of folks show up for that, and then a work day in December where they got to practice with all their tools and do all kinds of fun stuff. Our next breakfast is going to be on February the 21st, so you guys can mark your calendars for that. Women's ministry. All right, you ladies. Over 100 women who are coming to Bible studies throughout the week. That's pretty impressive. And many of the first-timers, the ones that are new to the Bible study, have never been in a Bible study before. So that's pretty impressive. Central Moms, we got some young moms who come to that. There we go. They meet every other week for encouragement, and this year they kind of helped with the Samaritan's Purses, put together some boxes to take care of some kids that wouldn't get a present otherwise around the world. Golden Girls, I know there's some of you ladies in here, right? Yes. It's a ministry for women who live on their own, and every other month we do, Elisa and Cammie do this. They host it, and man, I can tell you, every time I get a chance to go by there, it's such an encouragement to me because these ladies really love being together. They love sharing a meal and hearing a word of encouragement and playing games. It's a super special time. And then for the first time this last year, since COVID, right? Tuesday nights, women's large groups are back on, so we're back on campus here, which is really good. And then Common Grounds has come back, so that's really fun. So thank you, Elisa. And Cammie, I don't know if I saw her yet. So CY, where we got those folks? Okay, all right. So CY is always a fun thing. I can tell you one of my favorite things when I get the chance to go up on a Wednesday night and see those guys. They really love being together. It's a pretty close-knit group of students that are there. The leaders love being with them. They love diving their lives, not just the easy, fun stuff, but even some of the hard stuff they like to get into. And they're having an impact. And how do I know that? Because if you go and you look on a Tuesday night, we're going to talk about that in just a minute, but we have a lot of students that serve in our KSG ministries, right? So they're a little bit older, and they're giving into the generation below them. They serve in tech and worship, and they serve on Sunday mornings. And so it's really great to see our youth that are serving, that are giving back in that way. And so it's been really fun just to see that ministry continue to grow and continue to have an impact. And this is, I guess, near and dear to my heart, 3 of the students who graduated this past year, 2 of them are now in the armed forces, or they've gone to serve. And so that's really been a fun thing. So Children's, all right, here we go. 30 volunteers. Are some of those volunteers? Yeah, some. Okay, good, awesome. Yeah. 30 volunteers serve 100 kids every week in children's ministry. KSG, there's 50 kids to 20 volunteers. You got volunteers are outnumbered on Tuesday night as well. And then 23 kids and 6 leaders went to Forest Camp, and then 50 kids and 30 volunteers went to VBS. And let me just say this, for you volunteers, I mean, kids, you get to have fun in it. I know it's fun to do all that stuff. But for you volunteers, let me just say thank you. Not just in the children's ministry, but also with our students. I mean, you're building into the next generation. And I can tell you, for a lot of us, when we first came to know Jesus was when we were kids. And it was because a Sunday school teacher or a youth leader came alongside us and just told us, they loved on us and they told us about Jesus. So what you're doing is super important. Thank you guys so much for serving in that way. LP, we have a learning planet is our, all right, there we go, is our preschool here at the church. And they serve, really, they've got a small but mighty staff as well, headed up by Daryl Lynn, and Angie helps out there. We've got Liz and Charles and Carla and Chelsea who all serve as teachers in that ministry. And it's for 2, 3, and 4-year-olds as they're getting ready for kindergarten and first grade. So they're learning their numbers and colors and all the fun stuff like that. But more importantly, they're learning about Jesus. And they're learning Bible verses, and they're learning some other things that really, I think, are setting them up well for whatever the next stage in their life the Lord's going to take them through. Young adults. There's some of you guys in there. Come on, don't be afraid. Yeah. I love this. It's a ministry that we've been lacking for a while. And so when we started talking about bringing Jay on and actually talked to Kevin Moccardini, who's one of our elders in training, and we were talking about this ministry, and just for Jay, it's been, he's great at worship. We'll talk about that in just a second. But man, he loves the young adults. He loves hanging out with those guys. I don't know if you follow us on social media, but man, this is you know how I know this? He's not afraid to cash in his cool card. You know what that means? If you watch some of those videos, you're going, really, Jay? But man, he loves hanging out with young adults. And he wants to see them have a place. Because I can tell you, I am always impressed. My sons all fit in that category. And so when I'm here on a Sunday and I see a young adult show up at church, especially by themselves, I'm like, that's impressive. That is super impressive, because I know I was one of those that didn't make all the best choices. Did I tell you I wasn't always a pastor? I know there's a lot of bad choices you can make out there. But choosing to be a part of a church and choosing a church community and having someone like Jay and someone like Kevin who loves on you and wants to see you get plugged in and see you pursue a life of running after Jesus instead of away. Man, it's a super awesome thing. I got to go to their kickoff night, and man, it was so much fun to see all of the folks there so excited about a ministry for their age and for their group here. And so, man, I'm just going to invite you guys on Tuesday nights. That is the place to be if you're a young adult. And then the worship team. Worship and tech. Worship and tech. I don't know about you guys, but what I love about when I see Jay, it's not just Jay, but Jay kind of leads this team really well in this. There is there's a sense of worship that's not performance. Just hear the right way. It's not a performance. I'm not trying to wow you with all my talents. I'm trying to invite you in to worship with me. And Jay and the team do such a great job of inviting us in to worship with them. They're not, hey soul, they're not telling us this is what you need to do. They're saying, come with us as we worship the Lord. It's a very tight-knit group of people. The tech team, man, you guys, always behind the scenes, but always super important. We couldn't make a Sunday happen without you. And I can tell you, and Nathan, I know you're down here, but that's okay. And Amber, you're right down there. But this is the thing. Almost every Sunday, this same team is together in some way. And so it's so amazing to see, and I just appreciate you guys for your service. Then we had just a couple more of these. Whew, there's a lot going on this year, you know. Two of the things I want to highlight real quick. Centerpoint classes is something we kicked off this past year, and really the idea behind it is to have a place for people who are new to our church or folks that haven't quite yet got plugged into another ministry, a place for them to go for discipleship and community. They're led by our elders. They happen on they're both hours on a Sunday morning. So if you go to first hour worship, big church, you could go to a Centerpoint class the second hour or vice versa. And that was kind of by design so that you would always be able to find a community, find a group that you could be a part of. And that's really kind of the heart behind Centerpoint. Along with that, we have our community groups. We got 4 of those that meet throughout the week, and those are kind of partnering together. So once a quarter, both our community groups and our Centerpoint classes get together for some kind of fellowship or some kind of encouragement. And so it really is a great way. Let me just encourage you, if you're not a part of a women's or a men's study, if you're not in Re-Engage right now or Regen, or you're not doing something else with a group of people, plug into one of those things, because the whole thing, the theme you're going to hear about is this idea of doing this together. Discipleship is something we do together. Re-engage. All right. So, last year, they were on Thursday nights. They were tucked away. It was kind of a dark. Every time we go in there, just kind of felt like you're on your own in this little room. But now they moved to Sunday mornings. And let me just tell you, if you haven't gone through Re-Engage, if you're married, you should do it. It is a great ministry. They invest well. They don't just rush you through the material, but they really do care. Throughout the week, there's phone calls, there's follow-up. And this is a discipleship. Let me just tell you this. It's first and foremost a discipleship tool. It's used to point you to Jesus and your spouse to Jesus, and as you're both pursuing after Jesus, it's going to bring you closer together. And so let me just encourage you, if you haven't checked out Re-Engage, to do that. It's already going for this semester, but in the fall, it'd be a great place to be. And then Regen. I know we have some of you folks out there too, right? And Regen is another discipleship program that's based on kind of a 12-step program. So it's a biblically based 12-step program where, let me just, quick survey. Anybody have any hurts, habits, or hang-ups? There's only like a handful of us? Maybe I should raise my other hand for the rest of you guys, right? We all have those, right? We all have those things that we struggle with in our lives. And Regen is a safe place to go and to be able to see there are other folks just like me who struggle with similar things. And it's not a place to go and wallow in it and go, oh, woe is me. But it's a place where you're encouraged. It's a place where you're pointed to Jesus. It's a place where we really do have a chance to pursue after him together. Last but not least is, I don't think I saw Manny this morning, but on Thursday nights, we have a Veterans and First Responders prayer group. And let me encourage you, if you fit that category, that's a great place to go. You guys see things, you have seen things that a lot of us never have. And so let me just encourage, it's good to be around other folks who can pray alongside you, who know the path you've walked and can encourage you in that way. And let me just say, it has been very encouraging for me as I ask folks to send in updates to really kind of reflect back on this past year and see what God has done in and through this body of believers, right? This place called Central. But he's certainly not finished yet. And our goal really remains the same. It's simply this. We started this last year. We started with the book of Ephesians, but it's the idea of being the body. That when Jesus calls us into this relationship with him, he doesn't call us to do it on our own. He calls us to do it together, right? You've heard me say it before, and it's not unique to me, but discipleship is more than me, my Bible, and a cup of coffee. It's a group project. It's a team sport. It's a tribe thing. It's something we do together, right? That we never are going to reach that place that the Lord calls us to unless we're doing it together, because it's not about an individual making it. That's about us making it together. You see, discipleship isn't a me thing. It's a we thing. It's something that we do together. So I've done this before, and you guys love it when I do it. We don't stand up. Now, don't eyeball them, but just look around the room. Feel free to walk around if you'd like. Because you know what? This is your family. This is your tribe. These are your people. This is your church. This is the group that the Lord has brought together in this season, in this place. And as you look around, let me just acknowledge there's not a whole lot that binds us together. We come from all different places. We don't look the same. We don't talk the same. We don't like the same things. But the one thing that we have is Jesus. He's the thing that binds us together. You guys can sit down. And let me just say this. God has given you gifts and skills and abilities and resources and all kinds of stuff. And we need you to bring them to bear in serving the body. You see, this is not my church. This is not the elders' church. This is not the staff's church. This is our church. Right? We are the body of Christ here. And each of us is unique in that. Each of us has a part to play. And the only way that we reach our full potential is when each of us is doing our part. And then that's when we'll have the greatest impact around the block and around the world. And so I want to challenge you, let's see this as our church. We have a responsibility for all that goes on here. We all have skin in the game, right? Because we're the body. So that means that when someone steps foot on this campus, we're serving and welcoming and we're loving on them. We're doing all the things that Jesus calls us to do as a body. We're not waiting for a greeter to greet somebody, but we're the greeter. We're not waiting for someone to serve. We're the servant. And let me just say this. Thank you goes a long way. And so when you see folks who are serving and, part of loving on each other is that recognition that, hey, thank you for your service. There's a lot of folks that give up their time and their energies on a Sunday or throughout the week to serve. And let's be thankful for those that the Lord has brought. But then let's find our place of service, a place where we fit in and use our gifts, whatever they are. If you can hammer a nail, we need you. If you can write a song, we need you, right? If you can, I don't know, if you can sing, you can do, if you can, what's the grout? Grout. Do grout. Lay carpet. If you can paint. If you can do electricity stuff. Electrician, that's the name I'm looking for. Obviously, that's not my gift, right? We need you. We need every single one of you. We need you. We need you. We need to be the aroma of Christ to one another and to everyone who steps foot on this campus. So let me just say, let's make this a season of encouraging and equipping and empowering and unleashing each other. Let's dare to dream big and trust the Lord for big things. Maybe it starts with your decision to become a member of Central. If you've been coming for a while, or maybe you're new and you're saying, hey, I need a church family, why not make this one in? On the 22nd, February the 22nd, we have our new members class. That's a great time to go in. And sometimes people say, well, why should I join? I can just come on a Sunday morning. I can just come on a Wednesday night or whatever. I can just kind of be a part. I don't have to. Why is membership so important? You know what membership says? It says I'm part of the family. It says I'm all in. It says I'm with you wherever this goes. And I'm going to stand beside you. Membership is that skin in the game kind of thing where I'm going, okay, this is my people. This is my tribe. This is my church. And so it's super important. If you haven't taken that step, please do, February the 22nd. And then this Easter, we're going to do something a bit different. We're going to take some time to prepare ourselves for the Easter season. I said this a few weeks ago, but we often, every year we do an Advent series. We have kind of a whole month to prepare for Christmas, right? We're every week we're covering a different topic, and you're getting excited, and all the decorations are out and everything. And Christmas is super important, right? Jesus stepping into our world, right? That's super important that we celebrate Christmas. But you know what? The church, throughout its history, has seen Easter as the most important day. You see, it's important that Jesus came. It's even more important that Jesus died for us. You see, Easter is our Super Bowl. But often in our Protestant world, we kind of let it slip up on us. So we go about our ways, and then we get there, and all of a sudden it's Palm Sunday. Oh, well, I guess it's Easter next week. But I just kind of felt like this year might be a good year for us to spend that 40 days of preparation, of seeing it not as a way of earning God's favor, but making space in our lives. What are the things that I need to let go of? What are the things that I need to stop doing, or maybe some things I need to start doing during this season to prepare my heart for what Jesus wants to do, to prepare my heart to celebrate the biggest day of our year. We may think the Super Bowl is kind of a cool thing for us as believers. Nothing should touch our heart the same way resurrection does. That's our big day. And so we're going to have this 40 days leading up. That's good. We'll have this 40 days leading up. Myron has put together a devotional that we'll have ready that's going to come out. Myron, soon? It's going to be ready soon. But here's the thing. That 40 days kicks off. It's kind of crazy. It kicks off towards the end of this month. And one of the things that Jay and I have been talking about, he wants to do a worship night. I said, you know what? It'd be awesome if we combine that with this 40 days thing. And the worship night is kind of going to be our kickoff for the 40 days that's coming up. And so it's going to be a time for us to get together on a worship. It's on the 27th of February. So you can mark your calendar. It's a Friday night. And it's a chance that at least one of the songs we sing on that Friday night, we'll sing also on Easter Sunday. So kind of bookending that time together. So you'll have the devotional. It's a 40-day devotional. It has scripture reading. It has a place to not only read, but then reflect on what you've read and then respond. A place to write down some things. And then when we get to Holy Week, we'll do Palm Sunday. We're going to have the kids come in and kind of do their thing. They won't do a choir, but they're going to be a part of worship during that time. Wednesday, we'll have our Seder dinner. We'll have a Good Friday service then, and then Sunday's our Super Bowl. That's what we're kind of planning for the Easter season. So my prayer is that even now you guys are beginning to think about that. One more thing as we look forward to this new year, we'll also be saying goodbye to our executive pastor, Mauricio Rodriguez. He's off to new adventures soon. He served the church faithfully for the past 3 years through some difficult times. I appreciate his partnership. I appreciate his friendship. He'll still be around for a couple of months, so you'll have a chance to say goodbye. But please thank him for all that he's done to serve this body of believers. And believe it or not, this is something that I'm going to give you a little. Sometimes I'm told I don't open up the chest cavity enough. I'm going to give you guys a little glimpse on what I pray for you and for us every week. Well, not every week, every day. I pray that Central is a place where the truth is proclaimed, where the word is faithfully taught, where the saints are equipped, where the lost are reached, where the aroma of Christ is thick and rich and fragrant, where the Spirit's presence is felt by everyone who steps foot on this campus, and where Jesus is made much of, so that we do a greater job of reaching the lost, expanding the kingdom, and making Jesus more famous around the block and around the world. And as we do that, may the Lord add to our numbers daily those who are being saved. Every day, I pray that for us.